Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrology segment. We'll be talking about transit Pluto conjunct one's natal Mars. Now, we're talking about transits that involve Pluto. They can be about transformation, power, obsession, fixation, control. And when transit Pluto conjoins your natal Mars, well, this may manifest in transformation, power, obsession, fixation, control. It could be in one's vitality and energy. Excuse me. It could be revival in one's energy. Remember that Pluto can be connected with rebirth and regeneration. But at the same time, you might feel that it's zapped and obliterated. It might be something. Not like what you have to look at is that when you're talking about conjunctions in astrology, they can be neutral. They can go either good or bad or have a combination of both. And a lot of this can be predicated and dependent on the aspects this makes to points in your chart, that this transit makes to other points in your chart, I should say. Now, it could also be that power, the need for power and control might be driving you and motivating you at this time. Say if you have this Capricorn and or the 10th house in your chart, it might be through some position of authority or some management position. It might be a time as well where you might be, Pluto can be about power. This might give more power, maybe in your enthusiasm. It could give, it might be a transformation of this. It might be something where you might be either where, or could even be obliterated. Because Pluto can mean a number of things. And we talk about it again, conjunctions can go either way. But it might be too where you're looking at this. Well, Mars is connected to sexual drive, and Pluto, when it contacts this, it could either destroy or obliterate it, or it might be something where it might be a rebirth or revival of this. This could be a situation where, whether it's through, might be some sexual enhancement pills, as some example, maybe reviving your sexual energy and drive at this time, or you might feel at this time that it just is completely gone away. If this is a transit that's taking place and you're an older person, it might be something where you feel this energy leaving. But it can be a time to where you're looking at this as well, that Mars can be about anger. And it can be a time too where it can be Pluto, transit Pluto conjoining Mars can intensify this. It can be even destructive anger. Let's say if you have this in the 4th house of your natal chart, you have to be really careful that it doesn't wind up doing something that causes some kind of damage to your home. Now, in some isolated cases, it could be a volatile death, and death which would be isolated. Keep in mind that that this transit doesn't even happen for everybody in their lifetime. Remember that transit Pluto, going through its full revolution, traversing all 12 zodiac signs, takes longer, much longer than a lifetime, average lifetime to do it. So that in a lot of cases, people won't even have this transit. So if you have this transit and it takes place, it can be very significant. Now, another thing too, this could be about a revival of courage in some cases. Remember, again, Pluto can be about rebirth and regeneration. If you've been living timidly for some time, it might be a time where that courage might be coming back. It might be a time too where, again, Pluto can be about obliteration, destruction, and Mars is about initiative. Some cases it may manifest in your initiative, and enterprise just might simply be there. Or you might feel, or it could give power to this in some cases. Now the thing is too, Mars can be about sports competition. And if you want to, if transit Pluto is hitting this, there might be a need to subjugate or dominate an opponent if you're involved in sports. And also too, Mars is connected with assertiveness. So it might be a time too where you might gain, feel more, say, empowered, with being more assertive. But by being more assertive, maybe it can give somebody, more power to get, things accomplished, or it can be for, so for example, if you're in a subordinate position at a job, somebody sees you, sees that assertiveness in that enterprise or what have you, then maybe it could be beneficial to you and give you more power to move up the ladder, so to speak. Now, anatomically speaking, Mars could be connected with the head, the face, and the skull, but Mars could be about physical related injuries in general. Now, it can be a time where, Pluto, you have to be very, careful at this time because Pluto is destructive energy, and if you're doing something, you're driving or you're on a motorcycle with no helmet on, it's a time to be very prudent and cautious because there might be more apt to very strong injuries to the head, the face, the skull this time. It's important to take those kind of precautions if you're driving and you're not wearing your helmet, you're doing something foolhardy like that. You have to be extra careful. And this could be also a time too. I mean, that you're looking at this as well. I mean, Mars could be connected with surgery. Both planets could actually be associated with that, so it might be a time. Could be a time for surgery. I mean, if this was in Gemini, it might be some surgery that on the arms, hands, shoulders. It might be something with the carpal tunnel. It could be something connected with the lungs or breathing. In Capricorn, it might be like knee replacement surgery or some surgical procedure with the hamstrings. Um, it could be something with the bones or the joints. Now, another thing too, this could also be, Mars can be about accidents. So it can be a time where there can be accidents in some isolated cases that might be, that might be really, I mean, say deadly, but ones that can be, have near-death experiences perhaps. Um, you have to, I mean, this is a time, this is a very, I mean, again, this transit, some people might not even have this. So it's obviously a very significant and important one. And Mars is very impulsive energy. So the thing about this too, uh, it's also, I would say, it could be energy where you might be trying to control or get power out of over impulsive or impetuous behavior. Mars could also be connected with the blood. So it might be, maybe there's some issue. I don't know if a surgery can be done, on a situation if there's something going on in the bloodstream that may not be right, or but at the same time, this could be, some. You look at some, situation. I mean, you look at this as well. Another way this can manifest and pan out, this could be about being overly fixated or obsessed with sex. Now, say this is an Aquarius as an example. Maybe it's through some innovative sex toy. It could be some robotic or electronic toy. I don't know if they have anything that's really robotic, but it can be doing something sexually that might be very unorthodox and be obsessed and fixated on it. If this falls in Aquarius as an example. Now, another thing too, keep in mind that Pluto can be connected with coercion, bullying, kidnapping. So in some isolated cases, this may be expressed in being coerced, being bullied. kidnapping situation, which is Pluto related, where you might be forced to have to combat, to fight, to defend, to show courage and fortitude. Hold on a moment, people. Also, too, Pluto, I mean, this is associated with the occult, astrology, deep research. Those things at this time, maybe they fuel or drive or motivate you at this time, whether it's to make money or what have you. If it's in your second house, it may be to make money, generate income, or tied into your self-worth and self-esteem. This could also be Pluto-related things such as a crisis or insurance or a tax-related matter may cause figurative headaches. Maybe they cause real ones at this time. And also, too, I mean, it's important to be very careful this time again, not to really overemphasize this. Pluto can be about corruption and crime. And the thing about it is it's also associated with death. So it might be a time too where it can, some isolated cases, I mean, this actually can give a little greater propensity for death through some kind of gunfire, violence, sharp instrument. Uh, it could also be where you might experience trauma. Pluto's associated with trauma. It could be trauma to the head, the skull, the face. It could be the physical body in general. Remember that Mars can be connected with physical injury. Um, if this was in, you know, for example, if it was in the zodiac sign Cancer, it could be a shot to the chest or injury to the chest, the breast, the stomach area. As an example, now another thing too. Um, in Capricorn, it might be through some bone cancer in some cases. Um, it might be something too where, I mean, for example, actually what I want to get at, I mean, if it's an Aquarius, it could be through something. There might be very powerful injuries to the ankles, the shins, the calves. Maybe there's a death through an unusual accident. And the thing is, it could also be a time too where Pluto can be deep. Mars could be about cuts and wounds. So in some cases, it could be dealing with some kind of deep cut or wound that might incur. You might incur. It could also be sometimes it might be if it was in Gemini, it might be something with the arms, or the shoulders, or the hand. It could also manifest in some cases as surgery to the head, the skull, or the face at this time. Because remember, Pluto can be connected with surgery. Mars is associated with the head, the skull, and the face. But at the same time, remember that Mars is associated with surgery as well. So it could manifest in something, a surgical procedure on something Pluto related, which could be something with the colon, the prostate, the bladder, the reproductive system, the sexual organs. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.